Hello, beautiful soul. I am Anna Fink, the Wellness Architect, and welcome to the Embodied Woman podcast. I want to share how your habitat is shaping and influencing your habits. The space around you is so important to consider because, as the saying goes, as within, so without. Our external environment mirrors our internal state, but it's also one to consider the external state influences our internal state, or the external environment, rather, influences our inner state and sense of peace and well being and our health because our habitat and our habits are so interconnected. And in this universe, everything is energy and everything is interconnected. So everything is constantly influencing one another, everything is in dialogue and communication. Your environment influences your physiology, your happiness, your health, the products in your environment, the design of your environment. There are so many elements to consider with your habitat, and this is the art of lifestyle design. We're designing a lifestyle that really supports who you are becoming. We're calibrating you to a new identity through redesigning and refining your space. Dr. Joe Dispenza, he speaks about the power of going to a new place to create and install a new identity because our old identity has been anchored in our past and current environment. And so it can be harder to change where you are than to go someplace new and install a new identity. So my genius is coming into your space, client spaces, and seeing how can we refine this environment? How can we support and refine and realign the space to calibrate you to another level because you're always responding. Your body's responding, your physiology is responding, and you're always responding to the cues and triggers around you. There might be something on the counter and it cues you to do something, like if there is a certain food in the house that you're trying to avoid, but it's in the cupboard, seeing it as the cue, and then it triggers you to consume it. And then it cycles you down the pattern of consuming that or overeating or whatever it is. And then you start to feel bad about yourself and you have the bloating and the digestive health issues that are compounded through eating that certain food, whatever it is for you. But those environment cues trigger certain reactions and then lead to the coding and architecting of health or away from health. So you, as your own best wellness architect and lifestyle designer, get to design and decide your environment. However, so many of the things in our environment have become unconscious. So we want to bring conscious awareness to them and begin to notice what is cueing and triggering what, and then shift it, shift it, shift it, because it's so much more than just a physical impact on your health. It's neurological, it's physiological, it's energetic, it's emotional, it's a mental, psychological experience. And so when you begin to understand that your habitat influences your habits, you no longer focus on installing new habits because it's hard to install new habits in a habitat that is not conducive to your next level. You start to default to what you've known rather than what could be. But when you shape your habitat in a way that triggers new responses, you quite literally calibrate yourself to a new level of existence, a new level of health and identity, and it makes habit installation so much easier because you're refining and recalibrating your space to meet that level that you are becoming. And this is why we're bringing Dr. Joe Dispenza's work into this, but also looking at the products we're using because there are certain products that are full of chemicals, endocrine disruptors, toxic heavy metals that are all compromising our neurological health, our physiology, our body's ability to cleanse and detox, can impact different regions of the brain, our emotional areas, making us more vulnerable or feel more triggered, more anger, whatever it is. There are so many things and factors influencing us from the beauty care products, from the pantry products, the foods in our fridge, the supplements we take, the nightly and morning routines. If we're using blue light, if we're exposing ourselves to blue light right before bed, that influences our sleep and our circadian rhythm, which then impacts the cortisol levels and creates a cascade of events and triggers that then can lead to habits that are not leading to radiant health, that are not coding your body for radiance. So everything is influencing you. Your habitat influences your thoughts, your mental state, your emotional state. Then that leads to certain actions, and that can anchor in old unproductive patterns or new patterns. Even having a book out in the morning by your bedstand can trigger you to then read in the morning rather than reach for your phone. So it's simple refinements in the environment, doing things differently to become something different, someone new, because your habits are never a matter of willpower. They are more often a reflection of your habitat. So it's so much easier to shift and refine your habitat rather than to focus solely on your habits without considering the greater context of your life. And while we've been told that change is hard and it takes time, or we've been adopting and telling ourselves a certain story about change, that it's requiring discipline and pressure and grit and force, it's it's not just about that, because you are so much more than that. You can change in an instant. But if you've been unconsciously operating, you got to bring consciousness and awareness to your patterns, because your habits are not born from willpower. They are born within the environment. And this happened long ago with your parents and how they got themselves ready, and then how that influenced you to get yourself ready, to present yourself, to dress yourself. This can impact how we choose our clothing, what we choose to wear and adorn our body with. What are the clothing materials? What are the bedding and the linen materials that we're using? Because this can be an unconscious habit that is influenced from our habitat growing up and then ripples out into our current environment later on. So, your kitchen counter can cue certain nourishment patterns that are supportive or unproductive feeding patterns. Your bedroom can spark and cue rest or restlessness. If you have a TV in your bedroom, you might be adjusted to blue light right before bed. Your calendar can cue intention and creation or reaction, depending. Your phone can cue presence or it can cue distraction. And there are so many different things within our environment, the types of lighting, if we have plants, if we have different elements that make us feel like, oh, this is our home, and we can regulate and feel peaceful, because your body and your nervous system are constantly responding to every single signal, every single element of your environment. And if your space is cluttered and messy, that can influence your mind and your ability to think. These are not mere metaphors, they are mechanisms, and we want to create habitats that influence positive habits, because the high performers, whether it is with respect to their health, their career, they have determination. They have these set rituals and routines that work for them, that optimize their physiology and their health. And they've done so through design and architecture of their environment, so that the aligned and healthy choice becomes the easy choice. Because often we move through our life by default rather than design. And lifestyle design is all about moving through your life by design, architecting health through your decisions rather than defaulting to the unconscious patterns and subconscious programming that's been running the show. We get to remove the friction between taking aligned action and becoming who we're here to be. So it's essential to evaluate your habits, to look at the habits that are unproductive. And I'd love to invite you to just look at what habits am I currently pursuing and reinforcing that are not healthy or that are unfavorable for me and my alignment and who I see myself becoming. And then look at those habits, whether it's with your phone, whether it's with food in the kitchen, whether it's with your sleep at night, and then look at your environment, your habitat, and see if you can see the correlation and that connection between them. Because most of your current habits were formed before you fully knew who you are becoming and before you calibrated to this next identity. And as you evolve, your habitat must evolve with you, because there are two powerful pillars of radiant health where we look at the intersection of the inner and the outer body and the physical space, your environment. Because who you are is not who you are becoming. Where you are is not where you are going. And what is here, your current environment, does not need to be the environment in the future. You get to create something new. You get to create something different. And through lifestyle design, we're touching on these two pillars, right? With architecting health and radiant health. At that, we're looking at wellness architecture, which is all about your body blueprint, your nourishment, your rituals, your routines, and lifestyle design, the way your space is set up. So wellness architecture focuses more on like the habits and your unique body blueprint, but lifestyle design really calibrates that environment and helps you refine your spaces so that they can align and radiant health becomes inevitable rather than feeling impossible. Your body is so wise and so intelligent, and your body inhabits the environment and your body responds to the environment. So together, we want to work in harmony to optimize your radiant health and your body in alignment with your environments. So, one of the embodied wellness practices I want you to take with you this week is to look at one single space in your home and make one single shift. Choose one space in your home that you interact with daily, whether it's your nightstand, it's your kitchen counter, your desk, whatever it is, and sit with it. Notice it. How does it feel to you? Is it cluttered? Is it clean? What do you want to change about it? And then remove anything that feels misaligned and anything that carries the energy of who you were rather than who you are becoming, and create that space, design that space with intention and deliberation, and add one element that anchors in who you are becoming, because a lot of lifestyle design is all about anchoring and neurolinguistic programming. So we are influenced by the language, by everything coming in, and we want to use these objects to trigger new reactions rather than old patterns and reactions. And then let that influence you and notice what happens, because it's the incremental shifts in our environment that create exponential shifts in our patterns and our identities and our habits. So you are doing amazing. Know that you're so powerful and your body is always responding and finding. It's time for you to rise. It's time for you to heal, and time to design an environment that elevates you, mind, body, and soul. I cannot wait to hear how this goes for you. Let me know, and I will speak with you soon.